Hey, it's Melissa. So today I'm thinking about doing something I've never really done before, which is talk about my disease, what I have, what I've sort of been through. And the reason why this sort of came up to do this now is last week I was featured on the Fox 2 Detroit news. I was doing a live painting demo, which was cool. And these are my paintings too, so I'm an abstract artist. And this is one of my Detroit ones. So I'm painting this cityscape of Detroit, and as I'm painting it, I'm getting floods of people on social media just like following me, talking to me, asking questions. And then later I get home after I had an art battle that night in Detroit for it's 20 minutes where you paint against other artists, and people from watching TV came to my art battle because they wanted to meet me, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And so I get home and I'm like checking my email and things like that, and I'm getting stories of people that are talking about their loved ones with physical challenges, or just curious about what I have, what I'm doing, and that was cool. That was like me putting awareness out there. And so my disease is called Sacral Agenesis. And if you go to the number, SACRA.org, you can sort of see a little bit of information of what I have and the background of it. And it's a funny story because I just joined this Facebook group of adults that have it. I'm not sure, there's a couple hundred of us. And so I volunteered my website design services to build them a new WordPress site so it's functional and people can find it online. And not to mention, having people donate, connect, and sign up so they can get more information. So let's just take it from the top. How did I get this disease? Well, I was born with this. It's something that it's not really changeable unless you do really extensive surgeries while you're in the womb growing. So my mother and my father at the time, they couldn't take care of themselves. So, and my medical debt was just burning. My grandparents, who I consider my parents because they've had me since I was a wee little one. Actually, I have a photo here. Adopted me and my two brothers when we were just children, and they just sort of brought me up with confidence that the reason why people are staring is because you're beautiful. And that could have also turned into a negative for me now, because now I love the attention and I am like expecting it. But there's good attention, there's bad attention. We'll talk a little about that later. But growing up, when I came out, my legs were like straight up in the air, so the doctors had to cut the tendons so they come down and then they're just wrapped up completely. So my hips are not in their sockets. I'm wondering, I have some x-rays actually of what it looks like now, and I'll put those on my blog so you can sort of see the curves in the spine and how the hips are not in their sockets. So I use forearm crutches, which are these guys here. These are my old pair. I got a new pair coming. These have been through a little bit of everything, music festivals, concerts, all kinds of cities, countries. They've been, if these crutches could talk, like one of my close friends that I consider like another mother, she said it'd be a bestseller. And I totally agree, because I've been everywhere. Nothing has stopped me since. And it wasn't always like that. I was confined in a wheelchair, and then from there I was using a walker. That was all through growing up in junior high and things like that, and as a kid, and I didn't have friends in the beginning, but then as I kind of grew comfortable with what I have, my confidence is what really owned me to have good friends. And to this day, I still have some friends from kindergarten. I still talk to them, and I'm 26 years old and I talk to them on a daily basis, so that's great. But I think that having this physical challenge has really sort of made me appreciate that you never know when you're going to get really sick. And when I mean really sick, I mean like bedridden, crying, do I go to the hospital or do I just try to sleep it off? And it's just like one of those things that it just happens like a switch. I've had 13 surgeries and I'm 26 years old, like I said. And just some people I meet, having one surgery for them is scary. But for me, I'm scared every single time I go down. And I have the most wonderful doctors. I mean, my urologist is the chief of surgeon for the hospital. So I know I'm being taken care of, and I know they totally appreciate me. Not to mention, before I go down, they always ask me some of my favorite things, and we'll start talking about music festivals. And you will not believe that some of these doctors, they're totally hip. They know who Skrillex and Calvin Harris and Bass Actor are, and I love that. So they're making me laugh and smile before I'm like, going down, and I wake up and everything's fine. But so starting off, it was really hard growing up, trying to accommodate all kinds of different things. And I was a pain in the ass. I'm going to be real. I was a brat. I was not happy. And so I started joining sports. Like cheerleading, I was a part of cheerleading, but I couldn't compete because I had crutches. But now times have changed. People with crutches can compete. When I was going to high school, it wasn't there. But with my doctors and writing letters, they reinforced that you should be able to use your walking aids if you're competing in a sport. And I was the basketball manager, the volleyball manager, the track manager. So that's why I'm so good at business now, because I managed these teams and these girls, and I became friendships with them and took care of them. And it actually turned out to be the better for me. Instead of being physically run down, at least I was being part of something. So if you could take back something in this video, I don't want to make it too long because I really could talk a lot about my disability and things that I've had to challenge. I would just kind of have an open heart that if you see someone with a challenge, open the door for them. Ask them how they're doing. Make them smile a little bit, because you never know. 9 times out of 10 when I was growing up, I was depressed, and I had to see a counselor, and I had to just really lean on my friends for help because I couldn't accept my physical challenge. I didn't like the way I looked. I hated looking in the mirrors. I just hated it. And now that I'm older, college was really what brought me out to being like, who cares about it anymore? This could be a branding tool for you. So now when people see me in Detroit, very well conversed in the community, the art community, the music community, the business community, they run into me. They see my brand. They like that. And it's inspiring, because after all that feedback that I received from being on TV, and, they're telling us right before we go on air, there's going to be 1 million viewers. What little did they know, it's also my entire social media community from around the world watching it live, too, that day. The feedback from people sharing these intimate stories that they've struggled and they went through. And for me to be like the person that inspires them and guides them and gives them sort of like there's a hope. It's truly a blessing. It's not a curse anymore. This is something that I know I'm going to have to live with it forever, and it hurts. It really does. But I've seen people go through what I've done, and they're walking now. They're running now. And I feel like God puts everybody at the right time. So I'm going through like the peak of my career where I'm working with multiple companies and running their social media and their web, which is totally perfect for me because I can sit at home like what I'm doing with you right now and just run business. I'm not on my feet all day long. But I do like the hustle and bustle of, going out too. Don't get me wrong. I go pretty hard, trust me. Yeah. So just sort of be appreciative of what you have, because when you see a person like me and I'm on crutches, you don't know that 15 years ago I was in a wheelchair with braces, crying every night because I hated wearing them. But I knew it was helping my legs straighten and do things like that. And now that I'm 26 and I can say no, I don't have to wear those braces. But my body's done growing, so it's not like it would really improve anything. It would just be a brace on my body. But, I have a wonderful significant other. My boyfriend's a nurse. He's actually a nurse in orthopedic, which is underneath what I have, my spine. So I'm very blessed to have that, and as well as like a family that encourages me, and they're very, intuitive about my successes, and they're always teaching me to drive. So I'll post a little bit more about this later. I just kind of wanted to start it off fresh because I've never done something like this before, and it's like coming out to the world that this is finally okay to talk about. So feel free to ask questions. I'd rather have someone ask questions than assume that I was in a horrible car accident, because it's not the case at all. It was just something that was given to me in birth, and I thank my blessings every day that there's no one else in my family that have this, because you have to have a lot of strength to go through these hoops and deal with the insurance and the hospital visits and just trying to live, really. And yeah, that's all I've got right now, but I really hope that this could touch some lives. And thank you for listening to me. This is a long video, and it's from the heart, so I appreciate you.